Mr. President, you've obviously heard there are all these articles being written, there are these foreign policy analysts who are saying, isn't enough already for you? Should you go to the negotiating table? Some of these countries with economic pressures on their own who are supporting you now, are you feeling any pressure to go to the negotiating table?
Look, they don't want this war to be finished. Now, before having any fatigue, everyone has to understand that it's only the Kremlin and only one person, the head of the Russian Federation, who's not tired of the war. He might be tired of life in principle because of his age, but he's definitely not tired of the war. Now this person and the Russian political and military leadership need a pause. Believe me, they can feel it. They've begun to feel the effect of the sanctions. They have begun to feel dissatisfaction in their society. This person and all of them are afraid only of our society. These people, unfortunately, have no voice. Because if they weren't afraid of going to the streets, they would exert pressure. And this is what the Russian leadership is afraid of. And then, for our part, we say, please respect our principles of the UN Charter. Please respect our territorial integrity. Please respect our people, our rights, our freedom, our land, and our choice. That's it. So this word, fatigue, is a big word. You can't get fatigued. So it's too early for all of us to get fatigued. But when Russia truly wants peace, we will definitely feel it and see that. But, you can't wish for peace with words alone. Words are not enough. Stop the war, withdraw from the territory, stop killing people, start reimbursing the damages inflicted on our country. Criminals must be prosecuted, so words are not enough.
Do you still stand by what you said a few months ago, that you would not negotiate with Vladimir Putin?
His proposal has no substance as regards ending the war. Other than ultimatums, I've not heard anything from the current president of the Russian Federation. Starting from the 24th of February, there have been only ultimatums: denazification, denationalization. Every issue they raise starts with a D. They always want to deprive us of something violently on our own land. So I said that I'm not going to talk to this person if this person conducts these sham referendums and recognizes all those sham authorities that they set up as legal. We said this clearly, and I said that if they do that, then this means they don't respect our people, our sovereignty, our rights and our freedoms. What is there to talk to them about? But I haven't closed the door. I said we would be ready to talk to Russia, but with a different Russia. One that is truly ready for peace. One that is ready to recognize that they are occupiers, ready to reimburse our people. That's not about money. They need to return everything: land, rights, freedom, money, and most importantly, justice. To parents who lost their children. Money is not enough. It's not a priority. Bring back justice. And so far, I haven't heard statements like that from the Russian Federation, either from Putin or from anyone else.
The issue of NATO is very, charged one. I am assuming you're putting NATO to the future, but are you trying to get, and are you confident that you will get, security guarantees?
Ukraine needs security guarantees. The world needs security guarantees for Ukraine because stability depends on it. And this relates to the fatigue you mentioned. After our victory, after peace, we don't want to come back to the same situation. And it might happen. As I told you, the current military and political leadership of Russia needs a pause, in one form or another, just like with the Minsk agreement. or some other agreements, they needed a pause. They would gather up their strength, money, weapons. They would get ready. They would lay out the information for their own society. And when all of that has been prepared, they start the offensive. Because there is only one goal: to destroy our independence. There's no other goal in place. That's why we need security guarantees. Absolutely, we want it. And we believe we have already demonstrated our forces' capability to the world by the level of training, by the resilience of our defense system. I believe that we're at the same level as NATO member countries, at least. And I think it would be fair if we were in the same security circle and same security alliance. Because there are no wars among NATO countries inside NATO. So for us, this is the most secure construct. But if that path is longer than we would want it to be, unfortunately, through some personal attitudes of the leaders of some countries. Again, I'd like to stress the leaders, not societies, because all the societies definitely support us. If that path is longer than we can afford, then while on this path, we would need security guarantees to be able to reach NATO membership, because everyone keeps saying that the doors to NATO are open, but you need to reach these doors.
I'm going to ask you this because you went not so many months ago to the Congress, actually. You also met with President Biden, you met with the First Lady, and you actually said, we need weapons, send us the weapons. Do you feel that you have the weapons now to actually win? Do you feel that NATO is here to help you win, or just to stop you losing?
I think the president knows better how much more we need. I'm sure we need much more. But as a citizen of Ukraine, as a mother and a wife, I can feel that we need it. Because the missiles keep coming. When they stop coming, when our people stop dying in their beds in the morning, I will feel, okay, maybe that's enough. But we can't wait for Russians to run out of their supplies. It would be wonderful for them to run out, but I guess that's fantasy. That's why I asked to protect our children, to protect all of us. It's hard to live under this burden every day, when you don't know what will happen tomorrow, when missiles hit the crossroads while people are driving to work and get killed on the way. The other part of that missile hit a children's playground in Shevchenko Park. I literally walked there with my children when they were young. I'm really happy that it was 8 a.m. and there were no children yet. And I'm happy that my children are older and we weren't there. But this brings it closer and closer. So the question of weapons is a question of our survival, the survival of us and our children.
Mr. President, after all your powerful calls to the world for help, weaponry most especially, training, all that kind of intelligence help that you've needed, are they finally delivering what you need to win? And do you feel that you're getting enough to win or just not to lose?
I think my wife answered it very well, but the answer is fairly simple. It's enough when you can no longer hear explosions. It's enough when the air defense system ensure no missiles hit the ground or buildings. It's enough when you're not being fired at and no missiles are launched against you, because Russia is working together with its partner, if I may call it that, with Iran. Since the 10th of October, we've seen them use around 450 kamikaze drones, attack drones, air reconnaissance, attack drones, kamikaze drones, missiles. Over this time, we've had over 2,500 hits. That's without artillery. 2,500 hits by drones, explosives, or missiles. That's a large number. Do we have enough defenses? No, I don't think we have enough at all. Is it enough to make 100 or 1,000 calls? Probably not enough either. Too few. But I'm ready to make 1,000 calls if every call I make results in more air defense systems. I'm ready to stay on the phone and just do that. it's difficult. A joint decision on the protection of Ukraine and Ukrainian airspace will definitely help us. And all the answers are there. I'm sorry, it's not even like the start of the COVID epidemic, when people didn't know what to do about it, when we needed to create a vaccine and it didn't exist. There is a vaccine against Russian strikes, and we know it. There's a vaccine against Russia, and we know exactly which countries have it and in what amounts. And I would say, frankly, there are even countries that have a surplus amount, from my point of view. So I guess, in answer to your question, there is not enough willingness, I would say.